Hi, I'm Joel Trammell. I'm the Coordinator of Student Services for the College of Education here at East Tennessee State University, and I would like to take a few minutes to talk about the teacher education admission boards. If you are going into a teaching program, that is where you're pursuing teaching licensure, this is an essential step for you, and it's a very important step. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how the board application works. I know that this application can seem daunting at first. There are a lot of steps to the process. And so I'd like to help you break this down step by step so that you can get started on your board application and see how the process works. All of our teacher education students start out pre-admitted to teacher education. Boarding is the process where you apply and you interview to get fully admitted to the teacher education program. There are certain things that have to be in place for you to be eligible to board. You need to have started a file in our office. Hopefully you've already done that part. You need to have completed EDFN 2100, that's Orientation to the Profession of Education, and EDFN 2300, the class you're in right now. And you need to have made a C or better in both of these classes. You need to have a general education grade point average of at least 2.5. And you need to have met the computer proficiency requirement, either by doing the course CSCI 1100 or else by taking the proficiency exam and passing. The board application itself can be printed out from the College of Education webpage at the link you see on your screen. The application packet includes all of the information you will need for the board application. It includes some forms. It also includes instructions and an essay question. You want to treat this like a job application. It's a similar process. What's at stake is similar as well. What is going on when you board is the faculty in your program take this opportunity to evaluate your progress. They want to see where you are with your program. They want to make sure you meet the requirements. And this is where they give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down as far as being eligible to continue and to complete your program. So a lot is at stake. As you do your application, certain things need to be included. One of the requirements is meeting the test score requirement, and you need to include proof of one of those ways of meeting the test score requirement shown here, either the ACT composite score of 22 or better, or an SAT verbal math combined score of 1020 or higher, or passing scores in reading, writing, and math on the Praxis 1 exam. Many times, if you've taken the ACT or the SAT exam and you have a high enough score, those will be on your high school transcript. Often those show up in your ETSU records, and if they're in your ETSU records, we can print out a copy of that for your board application. You can come by our office and request a copy from your file. But if those scores are not in your record, and this happens frequently with our transfer students, you may need to get the scores from your high school transcript or get a score report. So just bear in mind that you need to know where you can find those scores. If you take the Praxis 1, make sure that you keep a copy of your score report for yourself. Always keep a copy for yourself. The company that does Praxis 1 will make a PDF file of your scores available to you for a while, but then they cut away that availability and they charge you for additional score reports. So while it's available, print out the score report for yourself. And also direct the company to send your scores to ETSU, to the College of Education. We'll receive the scores and we will put them in your file. With your application, you also want to include your transcript. The transcript needs to reflect that you've completed at least 32 hours of general education core, and that Gen Ed core needs to include your English composition classes, both of your Gen Ed natural sciences, your general education math, completion of EDFN 2100 and 2300, and the computer proficiency. You can use an unofficial copy of your transcript. In fact, this is the most common way to do this at this point. You can go to GoldLink and print out your unofficial transcript, but if you use the unofficial one, you do need to sign at the end of the transcript and use this statement that's printed here. To the best of my knowledge, this transcript is correct. You may also choose to go to the registrar's office and request that they provide you with an official copy of your transcript. If you do this, the turnaround time is a little longer, but you would not need to sign it because it would be the official copy. Included with your application is a computation form for your general education GPA. This form has instructions on how to complete it, but it can be a little tricky in some instances. You will need to calculate your general education GPA based on the requirements that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go to the next screen here and show you how this form looks. On the computation sheet, you will need to note the classes that you've taken. You're required to use your English, Sciences, and Math, and then you pick 5 additional general education classes. You can pick your 5 with the best grades. We expect you to put your best foot forward. But they do have to be general education core classes, and when in doubt, you can check the catalog, you can check with us, but it must be general education. You will write down the courses, you'll write down the grade you earned in that class. Bear in mind that pluses and minuses matter when you're calculating GPA, and then the corresponding grade point, and those are found on the chart in the lower left of that form. Then you multiply by the number of credit hours the course was worth, and that gives you your quality points in the far right column. You total up, you add the quality points together to give you the number there at the bottom, and then you divide by the number of credit hours that were the total credit hours. This gives you your general education GPA. Straightforward enough, except that there are things that happen sometimes. You may have taken a class in high school and gotten AP credit, or you may have had a high enough ACT score that you got a pass on English 1010. In both cases, you would have a grade of P on your transcript. That does not affect your GPA one way or the other. It just is not factored into GPA. So if you have a P for one or more of these classes, a grade of P, you'd write that down under letter grade, but then just draw a line through GPA and then draw a line through the quality points. But those hours will need to be deducted from the total number of hours. The total typically is 32. Say you had a pass like this person did for English 1010. You would deduct 3 hours from the 32. It says 30 there. I believe actually you'd be dividing by 29. And another thing that can sometimes happen is with sciences, many of them have a separate grade for the lecture and for the lab. The lecture grade is for 3 credit hours. The lab grade is for 1 credit hour. And in cases like that, the easiest way I know to direct you to do this is to write your lecture grade first, draw a slash, and then write your lab grade. This is reflected with that first science there where it says biology 1010 and 1011. So this student, hypothetical student, made an A in biology 1010 and a B in 1011, the lab. So the A is worth 4 points, the B is worth 3 points, so write both grades with a slash between them under grade point. And the A is for 3 credit hours and the B is for 1 credit hour, so you write 3/1. And then you multiply the A by 3 and the B by 1, which gives you 12 plus 1. And so that gives you 13 quality points. One final thing that sometimes will happen, under math it says there are 3 credit hours, and for the majority of our students taking probability and statistics, it is a 3-hour class. But sometimes we have students that do Calculus 1 or even analytic geometry, and Calculus 1 is a 4-hour course. In that case, under course credit hours, draw a line through the 3, put a 4, and instead of dividing by 32, divide by 33. So this can get complicated. If you have questions as you do it, check with us. We'll be glad to help out. With your application, you need to also include your program of study. We provide you with a copy of your program of study when we meet with you to start your file. Use that copy as a guide. When you're doing your application, you want everything to be very neat and very complete. The impression you make with the faculty matters. And the copy we give you is a working copy. We scratch things out, we write quickly. It does not look neat. So what you want to do is go to our website, print out a blank copy of your program of study, make sure that it matches your catalog year, that is the academic year when you started at ETSU, and then use the program of study we completed for you as a guide to fill in the one for your board application. Be sure that you fill in all the information completely. Don't just write down grades, don't just put check marks. Write in the course numbers, write in the grades, have all of the information there. If you've had any substitutions, write substitution next to the class. That way we can see exactly where you stand with your program. One of the forms that prints out with the board application is a statement of good moral character. This is a very straightforward form. You just have to mark a box saying that you have good moral character. But don't mark it right away. This form has to be notarized. There's a place at the bottom of the form for a notary to sign and to put his or her seal. So wait until you've got a notary there to witness your signature and then sign it. If you don't know somewhere to go for notarization just off the top of your head, you can go to the records office in Bergen-Dossett Hall, or you can go by your bank. Both places have notaries present. There will be an essay question with your board application. Your essay should be approximately 2 pages, double-spaced. It should be long enough to adequately answer the question that you're given, but not so long that it just goes on and on and on. You want to make sure with your essay that you answer the essay question directly and completely. You don't need to cite sources, but if you have any sources besides your own thoughts, be sure you do cite them properly. And in some cases, this varies from department to department, but some cases you'll be asked to upload your essay in advance. And you'll get further instructions from your program coordinator when you submit your board application. So just be aware you may need to provide those copies and have them ready to go. The portfolio you develop in EDFN 2300 is also evaluated when you do your board application. You don't actually submit the portfolio with your board application, but in many of our departments, they will ask to see your portfolio in advance. And when you go to your board interview, they will review and evaluate your portfolio with you. You want to make sure your portfolio is formatted as you're directed to do in this class, EDFN 2300. You want to make sure also that it is complete and that it is well done. When you board, you're required to have a background check on file with our office that is less than a year old. If you've not already done a background check and you're getting ready to board, go ahead and do it. You want to give yourself up to at least 4 weeks prior to the deadline to complete the background check and to make sure that clearance comes back from the state. We have instructions on how to do the background check at the link that's noted right there. And if your background check is getting close to a year old, you want to be very careful, because if it's even a day over a year old when you interview, then you need to redo it. They're very particular about that. As far as the admission procedures, once your application is turned in, our office will review the application to make sure everything is there that needs to be there for it to be complete, and the completed applications will be passed along to program coordinators, and the program coordinators then will line up interview times for you. Your interview will be with 3 or 4 faculty members, sometimes community public school teachers and others would be involved as well, and it feels very much like a job interview. In the case of curriculum and instruction students, we have instructions when you turn in your application, but you will sign up for an interview time slot when you turn in your application. If you can get your application turned in prior to the deadline, we strongly prefer that. That's because we will look through the application immediately and see if it's complete. And if there's anything missing or anything that you need to redo, that way you have a little time before the deadline comes, so you can come back in and fix it. If you turn in your application right on the day it's due and there's something missing, you won't be able to board until the next time around. So try to think ahead on those things. The interviews that you have are the faculty's way of making sure you have good communication skills and that you are able to integrate what you're learning in your classes and to think about how you would take what you're learning and apply it to situations you'd face as a teacher. The faculty want to see that you have the knowledge that you need, that you have the communication skills that you need, that you have interest and enthusiasm in the profession. And so the questions will be geared to ascertain those things. When you interview, the faculty will have you, after the interview, they'll have you wait in the hall for a moment, and then they'll call you back in and let you know their decision, so you're not left waiting long term. Your official notification will come either by an email or a letter from the faculty. And at that point, they will assign you a faculty advisor, and you will be admitted to the program. If for any reason you are denied admission to teacher education, the board will tell you exactly the reasons and the things that you need to work on to be successful, and you can reboard the next time around. I appreciate this opportunity to tell you about the board application. As always, if you have questions, please contact our office. And here's the contact information listed. And our office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We're glad to help out if you call or come by or email to schedule an appointment. Thank you.